I think it's a very important piece of land that we're trying to protect. I've been exploring the Scotchmans since I was probably 5 years old, and there are still many places that I haven't seen yet. It's not an easy place to get around in. We learn to think like elk when we hike out there. Elk and humans can go just about all the same places. You learn a lot about yourself, a lot about why places like that are important.
So yeah, I got a question on this resolution. We live in what's known as the Panhandle of Idaho. Bonner County was formed back in 1907. Our major industry at that time was logging. The rivers that flowed down into the lake offered an opportunity for the loggers to be able to cut the trees, use their horses or mules to haul the trees down to the rivers and the lake shore and float those in huge rafts down here to Sandpoint. We had the Kalispel tribe and the Kootenai tribe that lived along Lake Pend Oreille and the Pend Oreille River that flows from here north. The timber industry has been declining for a number of years now, but we've been able to transition successfully into the recreation and the tourism market. We've got great natural resources. We've got a ski resort. We've got the lake. People want to come here because of the beauty.
A lot of the trees are ponderosa pine. We also manufacture cedar lumber, western white pine lumber. This isn't your grandfather's or even your father's timber industry. The machines that you see behind me and the mechanization that goes on in that mill, we get value out of every piece of lumber we produce.
That schematic that you see up on those screens, and all the abnormalities, the bumps, the wiggles, the sweep, everything out of the log, and it calculates this is the size, this is the length.
My friends in the conservation community use the same word that I use regarding timber production: certainty. When you protect an area, you're certain it'll be there for future generations.
The history of timber and wilderness conflicts is just that, it's history. These days, timber folks and conservation folks see pretty much eye to eye on the landscape. A lot of the way that the land has been planned by the national forests over the last couple of decades have allowed for areas such as the Scotchman Peaks to be proposed for wilderness and have allowed for other areas to be recommended for suitable for timber production or restoration work.
Are we all set? All righty. So if we don't have needles or leaves, what are the things we can look at to identify plants?
The bark.
Bark is an excellent choice. Sandpoint is a great place to teach science. I teach horticulture, forestry, and environmental sciences. And weather permitting, we are outside way more than we are inside. Many of the students do go directly into employment in the field. More go on to college because they want to get a better career, but a lot with the skills they learn in these classes, they go right to work. And that's kind of the intent of the program, is that they are ready to go to work as a timber cruiser, working in a greenhouse, being a technician monitoring water quality. When we look at the challenges coming to our society, whether it's providing food, whether it's mitigating climate change, we need wide open spaces like this to study the way the natural systems work. I'm very hopeful that some of these students are the ones that will find those solutions, because we're in a world of hurt if they don't.
I'm looking into wildlife management and forestry right now. I do want to spend time outside and working with animals and the trees and whatever, you know, outdoors. And I want to work for either a national park or the Forest Service.
With this record-breaking fire season, I kind of found an interest in firefighting. And so I hope to pursue a career in that.
I'm going to be headed off to college next year, and as I'm trying to find a new home, I definitely need to be somewhere similar to this.
And so when we keep the trails clear, it's a way that we are enabling other people to have a shared wilderness experience here. Before we do the final thing, we need to have
a couple cuts.
A couple cuts to relieve some of that tension. We didn't use a chainsaw. because our mission in the Scotchman Peaks is to keep it as primitive as a place as possible. And using simple tools that aren't mechanized, like the crosscut saw and the Pulaski or an axe, help us maintain that experience. I think that that is the best way to reach people on the trail, is just talk about the treasure that they're enjoying while they're hiking on the trail and inform them about how to keep it beautiful. And so it was really easy for me because I love this place. I absolutely love this place. And I've been super blessed with the opportunities to come and work for the Friends of the Scotchman Peaks. And recently got an opportunity to work for the Lower Clark Brook Watershed group.
Wilderness is part of my soul. My wife, Deb, and I have hiked the lengths of the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest, and Continental Divide trails. And while we've seen a lot of the wild landscapes on the continent, we've also seen a lot of managed lands. The Scotchman Peaks stand out as one of the wildest areas that we've ever experienced. The Friends of Scotchman Peaks Wilderness believes that the 88,000-acre Scotchman Peaks roadless area deserves wilderness protection, as do our communities surrounding it. We find that people who live here locally hold very similar values. Conservationists, timber folks, people who are in manufacturing, people who just are scrabbling to make a living, still have this connection to the land. We all cherish the landscape.
Every time we can set something like this aside, we, I think, have a better chance of ensuring the future of the human race, the future happiness of the human race, too.